Welcome to Kuma English Listening Hub. In this episode, we are going to step into a world that did not even exist a few decades ago, the world of professional esports. In other words, competitive video gaming as a full-time job. If you think playing games is just a hobby for teenagers in their bedrooms, today's story might surprise you. Esports has transformed from a niche pastime into a global industry worth billions of dollars, with sold-out arenas, sponsorship deals, coaches, analysts, and very strict training routines. In the next 10 minutes, we will explore how esports became a serious career, what life is actually like for professional players, and why this digital sport is changing the definition of competition, work, and entertainment. Let's begin by asking a simple question. What exactly is esports? Esports, short for electronic sports, refers to organized competitive video gaming. Players or teams compete in specific titles such as strategy games, first-person shooters, or sports simulations, often in front of a live audience and an even larger online audience. Unlike casual gaming, esports is structured. There are tournaments, leagues, rankings, coaches, and prize money. At the highest levels, there are contracts, salaries, transfer windows, and even buyout clauses similar to those in traditional sports like football or basketball. The idea of people watching others play video games might sound strange at first, but in reality, the concept is not new. People have always enjoyed watching experts perform, whether they are athletes, chess, grandmasters, or musicians. The only difference is that now, the stage is digital. So, how did this industry evolve from small local competitions to stadium-sized events? In the late 1992s and early 2000s, small groups of players began organizing tournaments in computer cafes and community centers. These events were often informal, with modest prizes and limited media coverage. Then, two major developments changed everything. First, high-speed internet became widely available. This allowed players from different cities and even different countries to compete online in real time. People no longer needed to be in the same room to play together. Second, live streaming platforms appeared. Sites like Twitch and similar services allowed players to broadcast their games to anyone with an internet connection. Instead of a few dozen people watching in person, suddenly tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of viewers, could watch a match at the same time. Esports went from local to global almost overnight. Companies quickly noticed that millions of young people were spending hours watching competitive games. Sponsors, advertisers, and traditional media outlets started to invest in the scene. Prize pools grew, production quality improved, and professional teams were created. Today, some World Championship finals are held in massive arenas, with lights, music, opening ceremonies, and commentators who analyze each move as it happens. Online, the audience often reaches several million viewers, comparable to smaller traditional sporting events. Now that we understand the scale of esports, let us look at the question that many people ask: what does a professional esports career actually look like? At the top level, players sign contracts with organizations, usually referred to as teams or clubs. These organizations often provide a regular salary, performance bonuses, and sometimes housing, health insurance, and travel expenses. In return, players are expected to train, compete, and represent the team in public. A typical day in the life of a pro player is more structured and intense than many people imagine. Players usually live together or train together in what is called a gaming house or a team facility. These environments are designed to create discipline and focus. A day might begin late in the morning with a team meeting, followed by several hours of practice. Practice in esports is not simply playing for fun. It includes reviewing strategies, studying the strengths and weaknesses of opponents, analyzing replays of past games, and drilling specific skills over and over again. Teams often have coaches who design the training schedule, analysts who examine performance data, and sports psychologists who help players handle stress and maintain concentration. Many professional players dedicate 8 to 10 hours a day to training, sometimes more during important tournament seasons. When they are not practicing with their team, they might be streaming their gameplay to their fans, giving interviews, or participating in sponsor activities. On match days, players must manage their nerves, stay calm under pressure, and communicate clearly with their teammates. Every decision, every click, and every second counts. This level of commitment raises another important question. What skills does someone need to succeed as an esports professional? Gaming skills are, of course, essential. Players need fast reaction times, excellent hand-eye coordination, and the ability to process a large amount of information quickly. They must know their game in incredible detail, including every map, character, weapon, or strategy. However, technical skill alone is not enough. Communication is vital. Many esports titles are team-based, with 5 or more players working together. They must coordinate complex strategies in a constantly changing situation. Clear, concise communication can make the difference between victory and defeat. Another key skill is emotional control. Competitions can be extremely stressful. There are fans cheering, commentators analyzing every move, and sometimes millions of people watching online. Players must stay focused, avoid tilting, which means losing control due to frustration, and recover quickly from mistakes. Discipline also plays a major role. Training for hours every day can be exhausting. It is easy to become lazy or distracted, especially when your work happens on a computer. Successful players treat their career like a serious job, not just entertainment. There are also strategic and analytical skills. High-level esports often resemble chess played at high speed. Players must predict the opponent's moves, adapt their strategy in real time, and calculate risks under intense time pressure. Interestingly, many of these skills are similar to those required in traditional sports, even though the physical activity is different. This brings us to a controversial question that people often debate. Is esports really a sport? Some argue that esport cannot be considered a genuine sport because players are sitting in chairs, not running, jumping, or physically competing. There is no physical contact, no stadium grass, and no traditional athletic performance. Others respond that sport is not only about physical strength or endurance, it is also about competition, skill, strategy, teamwork, and mental toughness. By these standards, esports clearly qualifies. In fact, many sports organizations now recognize esports officially. Some football clubs have their own gaming divisions. Several countries have begun to classify professional gamers as athletes for visa and regulation purposes. Large sporting events sometimes include esports tournaments as part of their program. Regardless of which side of the debate you are on, it is difficult to deny that esports requires serious preparation and professionalism. However, behind the glamour of big tournaments and huge prize pools, there are also challenges and risks. One major concern is physical and mental health. Because players train for long hours while sitting, they face problems such as eye strain, back pain, and repetitive strain injuries in their wrists and hands. To reduce these risks, many teams now hire fitness coaches and physiotherapists. Players are encouraged to exercise regularly, stretch, and maintain a healthy posture. Some facilities even include small gyms, rest areas, and nutrition plans. Mental health can also be a serious issue. The pressure to perform, the fear of losing a contract, and constant exposure to social media comments can take a heavy emotional toll. Burnout is common. Some players decide to retire in their early 20s, which is extremely young for any career. Others struggle with anxiety or depression when their performance declines or when they face intense criticism from fans. In response, an increasing number of teams invest in sports psychologists and mental coaches. These professionals teach players techniques to manage stress, improve concentration, and separate their self-worth from their performance. There is also the challenge of career stability. Esports is a relatively new industry, and it is changing quickly. A game that is popular today might be forgotten in a few years. New titles appear, formats change, and team structures evolve. Many players know that their time at the top level will probably be short. Reaction times typically decline with age, and younger competitors enter the scene every year. As a result, professional gamers must think carefully about their future. Some move into related careers such as coaching, commentating, or content creation. Others work behind the scenes in management, marketing, or event production. A few return to university or start businesses using the connections they have built. Despite these uncertainties, esports continues to attract enormous interest from young people. For many, it represents a dream, turning a passion for gaming into a real job. At the same time, parents, teachers, and governments are trying to understand how to respond to this new industry. Should schools support esports the way they support traditional sports teams? Should there be official regulations to protect young players from exploitation or unhealthy working hours? In some countries, universities now offer scholarships for talented gamers, just as they do for football or basketball players. There are also specialized academies that train teenagers in both gaming and life skills, such as communication, time management, and financial planning. These programs aim to create a more sustainable ecosystem, where esports is not just about short term success, but also about long term development and education. Whether you personally enjoy video games or not, esports is shaping modern culture. It influences fashion and music, with players becoming celebrities and role models. It drives technology, pushing internet providers, hardware companies, and streaming platforms to innovate. It connects people from different countries and languages through a shared digital experience. At the same time, it forces us to rethink what counts as a sport, what a career can look like, and how work and play can sometimes overlap in surprising ways. As an English learner at a high level, you can use the story of esports to expand your vocabulary related to careers, technology, competition, and mental health. You can also practice discussing complex questions, such as the definition of sport, the impact of digital work on our bodies, and the balance between passion and stability in a career. Before we finish, let us reflect on a few key questions that you can use for your own speaking or writing practice. First, do you think esports should be considered a real sport, and why or why not? Second, if you had the chance to become a professional player in any game or activity, what would you choose and how would you handle the pressure that comes with it? Third, what can traditional jobs learn from the esports world about teamwork, strategy, and adaptability? You can pause this audio and take a few minutes to think about your answers. Try to explain your opinion with clear reasons and examples. This will help you practice expressing complex ideas in English. To conclude, the world of professional esports is more than just pixels on a screen. It is a demanding career that combines skill, discipline, creativity, and technology. It offers exciting opportunities, but also serious challenges. Whether you are a gamer or simply a curious learner, understanding this new form of competition can help you understand the digital age we live in. Thank you for listening to Kuma English Listening Hub. If you found this episode useful, you can listen again to catch new vocabulary or shadow the audio by speaking along with me to improve your pronunciation and rhythm. See you in the next episode.